Welcome back to another episode of WAGME TV. In the first episode of 2023, we're going to be running through XRP's recent updates in their SEC lawsuit. Also, we're going to be running through what to expect out of Ripple in 2023, because it's going to be a big year. If you like this content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe below, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, WAGME, and let's get into it.
So the first thing that I would just kind of preface this with is just a brief background on what XRP is. I know, if you're watching this video, you're probably somewhat familiar, probably following XRP, but I think one thing just to rehash here is just what XRP does, and more so Ripple, right? Because Ripple is Ripple Labs, the company, and they have a product called XRP, which they use to then facilitate other products that they have. But really, Ripple is three main products. So it's cross-border payments. So that's kind of helping with real-time settlement, liquidity management, and going from different currencies and kind of lowering the cost there. And so for folks who, countries and large banks and companies that are transferring between these different currencies at high volume, that offers a ton of savings and convenience for them. The other aspect is crypto liquidity. So crypto liquidity right now is insanely hard to aggregate and manage. If you've at all have traded on a DEX or anything like that, you know how crazy it can be to go to these different locations and manage liquidity and do all these things. And so they bring that into one place, and they have quite a few banking clients who use that currently. And then the last product they offer is CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies. So this actually enables a country or a central bank to issue their own scalable, secure, and sustainable CBDC to then manage going forward. So they offer all the infrastructure and everything needed to do that. And I think one of the things that kind of obviously clouds XRP and when people think about it is absolutely the lawsuit that's going on between them and the SEC. And I think one thing to note really, really quick that I think folks just kind of look past is how many legitimate clients Ripple already has. So this is a list of the top 100 banks. And you can see just even in the top 15, there are quite a few that are already Ripple customers. I mean, notably Mitsubishi UFJ, they have $2.8 trillion in assets and they're a fully fledged Ripple customer. Places like Bank of America, all these notable names, they're already using Ripple. And so one of the big things is, if Ripple can get past this lawsuit, what is in store for them in the future? And I think that's what's really exciting. But getting back to what Evan had stated around the lawsuit, we kind of want to cover a couple of updates. So very recently, back in October, the Hindman documents were actually released to Ripple from the SEC. Now, the Hindman documents are from a fella named Bill Hindman. He used to be the director of the SEC corporate division, so the division that Ripple is fighting against right now in the SEC. And he made a speech in 2018 saying and explaining how Ethereum is not a security. And he cites a lot of things, including decentralization. But along these documents with that speech and the speech notes, there's also some emails and some other files that he's put together. And it's basically expected that in these documents, he's talking about reasons why not only Ethereum, but something like XRP is not a security. And just for kind of full comparison, right? Ethereum is decentralized just in the way that Ripple and XRP are decentralized, where XRP has 150 validators in their network. So it's quite decentralized compared to a lot of these other blockchains that we talk about on the channel. And so on top of decentralization, it's still a confidential document, but apparently he's talking about all these other reasons why something like Ethereum and XRP wouldn't be a security. So basically, the XRP side has kind of said that this is a smoking gun. Now, back in October, they got access to this, but now recently, just a couple weeks ago, XRP or SEC filed to have the Hindman documents sealed. And so that was a request that they made to the judge. And now going through the next couple of weeks, we just have a couple more things that need to be taken care of on the litigation side. So they have all of these kind of deadlines for when particular motions or files need to be brought to the judge and or sealed. And so they had to basically bring this file to the judge before the 22nd or the 4th. And so they're basically saying they don't want the Hindman documents to be used in the court of law when they start disputing this and when they actually have, the settlement of the case, right? And so the SEC has basically, in so many moves, has basically said they don't want the judge or other people to see what's in the Hindman documents. So that really definitely makes up for kind of a curious case of events. It's really interesting why they want to keep that hidden. But basically the biggest update so far is that the SEC is motioning to have that neglected in the litigation process in the court, which again, Ripple saw that kind of as their ace in the hole and something that would really sway the judge to kind of basically motion in their favor. So now it's become a little bit more concerning from the XRP Ripple side. The lawyers are still pretty confident that they're going to get a win there. But at the same time, the issue is that they've now potentially, based on what the judge is going to say here in the next couple of weeks, they could have lost their kind of smoking gun document to go with their main argument. So that's the big update there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially since, XRP, like we covered, and Ripple already have a ton of clients. They have a great use case.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be just interesting to see how this court case plays out. I know previously Brad Garlinghouse, who's the CEO of Ripple, and his general counsel had said they expect this to be over somewhere, June, July of 2023. So, I think by then we'll probably have an answer, but it's going to slowly kind of start to develop. And this whole kind of Hindman document saga is, it could be a big blow to XRP. And it's kind of creepy that the SEC is trying to hide it from people.
Yeah, I mean, that's super interesting because you really wonder what is in there. Is there any mentions of CBDCs, of how Ripple could play a role in that front? Because they were obviously already creating some momentum in that space, and I could see where that would be a target of the SEC's focus, and seeing how cryptocurrencies could be used down the road, and how you're right that they are a currency and they're not a security. Something I also saw that was kind of interesting in that list of potential customers that you pulled up for XRP was that the top 4 were Chinese banks. And you wonder really how the US sees Ripple in the sense that, they could help aid some type of censorship or anything on the Chinese side that they would deem or basically a threat. So I guess a question for you, if XRP it was decided that XRP was a security and not a currency, how does this affect some of the other offerings that Ripple Labs has? For example, like cross-border payments.
That's a great question. So, and we probably should have prefaced, back in 2020, where the lawsuit started. All you guys probably know, but it's, the SEC basically saying that XRP was sold and marketed as a security when they raised all the money for XRP Ripple Labs and put it on the public market. So one of the biggest concerns leading off of that is if XRP is basically said to be a security, not a currency, it's going to basically take it off the market, which would negate all of the investment that's been made in Ripple. Obviously, whatever they've already deployed is great, but I'm assuming that's also going to lead to taking away investment that may have come from XRP, especially if they deem that it was, illegally used as a security to generate funds. The other issue is that it's also used as like a key mechanism in cross-border payments specifically. It's used in other aspects too, but cross-border payments is kind of the main way that XRP is used. Is kind of, I don't know the full technical way that they actually use it, but it's kind of used similar to like a bridge where it makes it really, really easy to transfer from one currency to the next and lower the kind of cost per transaction when you're transferring between 2 different currencies.
Which that would be a wild way to use a security, in my opinion. That would make absolutely no sense. But yeah,
good point. And that's exactly what Brad Garlinghouse, a lot of these lawyers on the XRP side have been saying is like, listen, it's not used as, and a lot of the tokenomics speak to the fact that it's not a security either. We'll get into that a little bit too, but that's another big reason, is that a lot of the use cases, it's not really operating as a security. So the biggest hit to them would be that it's a key part of their infrastructure and how they support a lot of their products. So the issue there is that, they've been planning on using XRP, and that's how it's used in the infrastructure currently. You had mentioned actually before we started recording that maybe if this doesn't go their way, maybe they'll reissue some different token and kind of adjust, which could be possible. But it would definitely make it difficult to do business the way that they want to. And it would also dampen the trust of potential clients and current clients. So we don't know what's going to happen to the current customer pool, let's say, that are using cross-border payments. All of a sudden, XRP is nullified. It's not a thing anymore. Who knows if they come back as a customer, if they have that disruption in their service.
Right. And so the big argument here is essentially they ICO'd and raised a ton of money from XRP to help fund a lot of the R&D that's happened at Ripple Labs. Do you think this is a case where, this could be a huge threat to almost every single coin that ICO'd and was used as essentially, a fundraising vehicle for a lot of these companies, these labs out here that we see in the crypto environment?
That's such a good point. And I wish I had it up to pull up, but Brad Garlinghouse, not too long ago, it might've been a couple months ago, wrote this really well put together thread about how smart crypto people are rooting for XRP, because it's not just going to stop with XRP. They're going to start, and that could be another thing that's in the, that they're trying to hide in the Hindman documents. Maybe they're talking about other types of projects specifically. Who knows what else is in there? But that's one of the biggest concerns, is that now, if you have the precedence with XRP, you can then start going coin by coin, and the SEC can kind of start shrinking down the crypto markets and kind of hindering them as best they can, because obviously they have a vested interest in making sure that, what the SEC handles financially and the Fed and all that kind of stuff, that, fiat still has viability, right? So they have some sort of, vested interest in that. So, it's a great point. I think it's gonna be interesting to see. But I think if you're a smart crypto investor, you're not rooting for the SEC here.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And as crypto bulls and crypto enthusiasts, we hope that this is deemed a currency. It sure looks like a currency. It sure acts like a currency to us. But we'll have more updates as this court case continues and hopefully starts to finalize around the summer of 2023. I guess any closing remarks on the XRP case? Your thoughts on it, Sia?
No, I mean, I think XRP's lined itself up well. It seems like the SEC feels nervous about what's going on. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask for the Hindman documents to be sealed and basically redacted in their entirety. But I think if we do go through and it's deemed a currency, I think it's huge for not only XRP, but the crypto market entirely. And then obviously, if we don't get the ruling, it's definitely going to be a hit for both XRP and the crypto markets overall. But I just think it's been something that's been clouding, XRP ever since it started. The case came in 2020 and they ICO'd in 2019. So they barely had a year on the market before they got clouded with this. So it's just going to be interesting to see, once this veil is lifted, does XRP just go crazy? They have so many great use cases. You made a great point earlier about saying, this is one of those cryptocurrencies that actually has a real use case that people are actually, excited about and actually impacts and has value. So, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, I don't think this lifts a cloud off of XRP. I think it, creates that positive sentiment across all crypto coins, across the entire industry, which I think is something that we definitely need at the moment after that tough year of 2022. As always, if you guys like this content, please like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear your thoughts on XRP, where it's going, what you think is possible with Ripple Labs. So, as always, thank you to the listeners, and we'll catch you next week. Wag me.
Wag me, baby.